It's time for live Q&A. And it doesn't matter if I'm driving or not driving. I've got Chaz with me here right now. Say hi, Chaz.
Hi.
So there's Chaz. Such a cool voice. And we're going to jump into Q&As right now. And go for it. Chaz, what's the first question we've got coming in?
The first question is, it is in relation to large corner or back garden plots. Can freehold vendors which still pay their mortgage sell us part of their land, or is it a no-go?
Is that the whole question?
That's it.
Right, yeah. So, great question there. Can sellers sell their land if they've got a mortgage? Well, yes, they can. They can sell your land, but the thing is, what they're going to have to do is actually make sure that they, first of all, separate the title so that they can sell that piece of land to you separately. But they do need to separate the title. That's really important. And hey guys, nice to see you. I'm partway through the question. And if you're here, I'm Kam Dovedi, just in case you're here for the first time. And I'm a property investor developer. And I do this every week, answering questions live. And then you can watch this on YouTube as well. So you might be watching this on Facebook, or you might be watching this on YouTube. It's released every week. So if you're not already part of our channel, become part of our channel. You're welcome. Just click on this bell icon to get the latest notification. And I do this every single week, and there's no silly question. And you can ask deep technical questions as well. So totally fine. Just saying. So you can do that right now. So continuing with that question, so it's about being able to split the title of that land. And this is something that many people get unstuck in when they are splitting the land, because what they don't realize is that, whoops, they forgot the fact that there's a first charge mortgage with a lender. So typically lenders will not allow you to do that. They won't allow you to split the title. So normally what happens is you have to pay off that mortgage, or what we tend to do is, we get short-term finance on that, where they will allow you. And the question to ask that is right at the beginning, before you do the process. So you've asked the question, I'm answering 3, but welcome to Premier Property. So you can split it, but you need the title split. There needs to be typically no lender on it, and then you can do it. That's really works, or short-term finance, as what I say. So hopefully that answers that question. And we got Rajwan here. Hey Rajwan. We got Paul's here as well. Paul Griffin's here. There's a number of you here. I'm going to concentrate on the driving and answer questions. What's the next one? Chaz, what's the next question?
I'd like to know if there are any regulations regarding windows in a rented property. The property in question is a bungalow. The kitchen has a casement window that opens normally, but the living room and 2 bedrooms have fixed windows with just a small fan light at the top that opens for ventilation. Would this contravene any of the regulations in the property if the property was rented as a holiday let or an AST?
Who's that question by?
Melody.
Melody, that is such a deep question. And the answer is, the only thing you've got to really be aware of, and now you mentioned a bungalow, but typically on at least a 2-story building, you require a fire escape window on the first floor. But in terms of a bungalow, what you just mentioned, not really, no, not at all. And it doesn't really matter if it's an AST or whether you're doing it short term on a service accommodation. You're absolutely fine. Happy days. Next question.
Following on my question a few weeks ago regarding costing projects, a few other questions have come up.
Who is this? Who's this?
This is from Clint.
Clint, part of the Premier Property Inner Circle. The man is on it. Yeah, and by the way, all of these questions are being asked by the Premier Property Inner Circle members. And yeah, people are really investing, really moving forward in their journey. So yes, what's Clint saying?
So there's 3 parts to the question.
3 parts to the question. I like your style, a little bit cheeky, like it.
Okay, so part 1 is, if you were planning to build additional stories above the 2nd story of a shop or any commercial unit, i.e. on top of an existing flat, would you use the new build per square meter pricing 2,000 per square meter, or conversion square meter 1,200 per square meter pricing figures, or does this require totally different pricing calculations per square meter? That's the first question.
That's the first question. Oh my God.
First part.
So, ooh, love it. Yeah, that's great. So, question being asked there is a very good question. Now, Clint's asking. So just to clarify, if I understand the question correctly, Clint is asking, what do you do if you got a you're building on top of a story? Well, what calculation do you use? Now at Premier Property for new builds, we're using £2,000 a square meter. So something that you can use as a first rule of thumb, so you can get your numbers right. So you can park up now, so I can take this off. Right. So we should continue with the questions. Some call it dedication. Some say I'm just a bit of a nutter, but I know about property, so get on with it. Right, so 2,000 square meters, £2,000 a square meter, in fact, is the number that we're looking at Premier Property, and that is a whole encompassing number. So first rule of due diligence, so that's the number that we would use, Clint, and that's the number that we would use. Yes. So second part of the question, or you might call it another question. That's brilliant. Next up.
How do you work out what a good price is to pay for an empty shop stroke commercial unit when you have no rental figure to work from in order to calculate the yield and building worth?
Nice. So when you're working out prices for commercial properties, what you really want to be looking at is the tenants that are surrounding the area. In fact, we are at our complex now here at Bourne Court. Look, Liz, I'll give you a little tour of it. Here it is. Just arrived. And we do the exact same thing here. So when you're buying an empty unit, what you're assessing is who can you rent it out to. So you can use those numbers to assess what your value is going to be, because in commercial, it's valued in a completely different way than residential. So with commercial, the way it's valued is it's valued by the amount of income coming in by the tenant. So what we do, in fact, we do it here, is we assess the rental value of your ingoing tenant, and you assess how much you can achieve, and that way you can use the numbers to buy a property empty. Now, empty commercials you'll find are discounted compared to commercials where they have these tenants, because, like I say, the value works on the commercial tenant. Another thing that you can do is you can look at the rateable value. Now, this is very useful. So you can actually assess the rateable value of the property, find out what the rateable value is. Now, the rateable value is actually worked out for the rentals for that property, for that region. When I say region, I mean that proximity. Typically within half a mile, quarter mile radius of what properties typically rent for, and that's how the rateable value for that commercial unit is actually worked out. It lags behind, but it's a great way for you to actually work out what the rent could actually be. So if you're finding comparables for rental are quite difficult to get, you could just use the rateable value. Another great way of doing it. So hope that makes sense, Clint. Let's move on to Clint's third part of the question. I love your cheekiness, Clint. It's brilliant.
How do you go about finding potential tenants for your commercial units? Is it just by using commercial letting agents, or are there other methods?
So how do you find tenants? So one of the ways you can find tenants is, like in places like this, you ask around, and it's by conversation, because there's always people moving. And the key question to ask is, do you know of anybody who is looking to rent a property right now, a commercial unit? Because we got one. So literally that recommendation really helps. So remember, you only need one tenant for one place, right? So commercial tenants, we're discussing commercial tenants. So that's one great way. Another way that we use is commercial agents. So professionalized service where they're going to go out there and market for you and find tenants as well. So both of these approaches work. The ones that are most cost effective, I suppose, ones that, well, actually, to be fair, they're both cost effective in different ways. So the finding the by recommendation is cost effective because you ain't got to pay you haven't got to pay a tenancy fee for that because you found that person. However, it is by recommendation, so you're not typically going out there in a large way. It's not a large volume, right? If I'm making sense here for you, right? But however, when you've got a commercial agent who's looking for tenants for you, well, in that instance, of course, that is their business, isn't it? So if you're following me, what you'll find is that, you got more chance of getting a tenant because their reach is much wider. So that's the one. That's the way we do that. So was that Clint's third part of the question, or the fourth, or the fifth? Have we, Clint? I hope you're happy. We answered all three of them. Okay, moving forward. Next question.
We have a question from Mike, and this is another question, which is, what is the best way to find a reputable company doing home buyers reports?
Okay, so Mike, Premier Property Inner Circle, he is on it, and he's got a. Well, he'll tell you himself. I'm not going to tell you what he's got, because I don't want to jinx it. He's getting some sales agreed and so on. So I'll keep that quiet. Okay, right. So Mike, and everybody listening in, a home buyers report. You can typically get them it's a service across the country. So home buyers reports, just for clarity, a way for you to actually value your properties. So you can do that. And where do you get a reputable company? So there's a number of companies that you can use, and they are usually the surveying companies themselves. So places like Collier's, eServe, they actually have these kind of reports. So you could actually check for these. You can go online, and what I would suggest is literally just check, go online, check locally, put in home buyers report, and you're going to find, surveyors and so on that actually do those home buyers reports locally. I like to, when we're doing these, now we don't do this often because we do our own assessment for this. However, when you are using them, they're quite good it's quite good to use a company that also works for mortgage companies. So another little hack here. So you can often get the valuation report meaning through the home buyers reports. So you're getting the home buyers report, which is from a firm that's actually going to do something similar as the valuation for when you get the mortgage for that property. And sometimes what you find is it ends up being the same company, and sometimes it ends up being the same person. So if someone's valued a property and they're coming along and valuing it again, you've got a very strong confirmation of what that price is, right? So the home buyers report does a deeper version of this, where they'll check the whole property, they'll find out what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. So you have a whole list of this in the home buyers report. So I'm answering your question. You use the potential company that a mortgage company would use, or you can just go online and check locally to find out who does home buyer reports in your postcode, and you will get a number of surveyors that do this. Great question there. First part of the question was that?
Yeah, and the second question that Mike has is, in the current climate in London, in the city of London, what is the best approach to find tenants, as there is quite a lot of flats / houses on the market and a diminished rental clientele?
Very interesting question, yeah, because there's a lot of inward migration, and also there's a lot of outward migration from certain areas. You got to have your area right, yeah. So the thing is, the way you can do this, the way we do this, is letting agents. Get a good letting agent. What is a good letting agent? An independent letting agent in your area with a good, strong track record. So recommendation helps. If you can't get recommendation, look for the local letting agent. Go in there, see, have they got time for you? That's an important one. If they've got time for you, that shows that you can connect and you can do business together. And also on top of that, ask them, how long do you typically take to rent a property in this area? So these are things that you can be checking in, Mike. I hope this is helping you. So you can do these things. And of course, one thing that you can do here, if you want to, is, well, I would suggest is click on that bell icon and join our channel. The channel is growing. People are loving the content. Being slightly cheeky today. There's a cheeky vibe going on, isn't there? Are you feeling it? Yeah, you feeling the cheeky vibe? So feel free to say yes or comment below. And by the way, on a serious note, any questions that you have, feel free to ask or comment, and I will do my best to share and impart the best I possibly can, my 30 years of experience and knowledge in property. I'll do my best to help you, whether you're new or experienced. Okay, so we're having some fun here. And Mikey's here saying, thanks, Cam, smiley face. Brilliant. Okay, next question.
The next question is from Anna. Do you know any domestic self-lay provider who can help with new utility connection in a domestic project?
Yes, utility connections, Anna. You gotta ring the electric grid. Yes, you gotta do it that way. Gotta do it properly is my suggestion. And you're gonna find that it's gonna be from pillar to post. You're gonna get connected to the one department, which is gonna take you to the next department, which is gonna take typically 3 months to actually get your connection to come in, because they've got to come up with a specific number for you, and that takes a little bit of time. In the meantime, you'll also get a quote for the services that you're getting in. So I would suggest factor in 3 months. Right now, where we are in the economy, I would say add another couple of months to that. So you're looking at 3 to 5 months. So the time to start this process is, of course, it's now. Let's get started now. Great, Anna, great question there. I love your deep questions every week. It's deep questions. Okay, next question, and we're on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe.
Hi Cam, this is from Ali. There are a few terms getting frequently when searching for deals. Could you please explain them? Registered rent, virtual freehold.
Okay, so by the way, how do you think Chad's doing? Well, I've just thrown this at him, really, to be fair. I was like, read these questions out. And Chad's like, what questions? You know, Chad's there with me, so he happens to be driving alongside. So he's on to it. What do you reckon? How's he doing? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up? I'll give him a thumbs up. I'll give him 2 thumbs up, actually.
Thumbs up, please.
It's thumbs up first. Thumbs up for Chad. Right, so virtual freehold, what does that mean? Virtual freehold means that it's a long lease, but you own the property. So I'll give you an example. So our HQ, where we are right now, actually, just parked outside, that is a virtual freehold, which means it's got a 999-year lease, which means you practically own it, don't you? You own it. Yeah, that is a virtual freehold. That's what it means. Simple as. And the next one was...
This is the last question.
Sorry, what was the other one?
Sorry.
Virtual freehold.
Virtual freehold.
Yeah.
And registered rent.
So regulated rents. Regulated rents are, tenants where they've got a lower rent typically, and usually it's the case of the rent will remain exactly the same until the person passes away. Basically, it's their property, and you got to look at the covenants, because sometimes it's the case that can be passed forward or moved forward to the people that are taking on their will and so on. So you got to check that out. So typically these are sold at auction when you're buying them, and you normally get a lower price, but you get the lower price because the rental is lower. So it can be a strategy. It's not the one that we do at Premier Property, but it can be a strategy for the long term. So that's what regulated rent means. Hope that answered your question. We're going to move forward to the next question.
So the last question is from, and I don't want to say the name wrong, Cam, but it's a beautiful name.
It's Ference.
Ference.
The one and only Ference. Yes.
The question is, when you extend a property, do you always have to get an architect or a surveyor involved?
Now, I know that Ference is actually doing this project that he's talking about, So do you need to get an architect involved? Well, I like to get an architect involved, yes, because the architect will have a number of other individuals, other professionals under the umbrella of the architect. My point of saying this is, it's not actually the architect that you need. It's usually the architect's assistant that can help you with what you want to do of that type of project. But I'll still go to the architect and ask them. Yeah, and they'll make sure that they give you the right member of their team. So simple. That's the way we do it. Thank you for that question, Ference. So that makes sense. Brilliant. We've got Radman watching. We've got Alex Phillip watching. We got so many of you here. So I hope you're enjoying these. We're doing this every single week. And normally not in the car, normally not. So I've had too many coffees today, haven't I? You can clearly tell, right? A bit too much sugar going on, yeah. But I hope you enjoy these videos, and hope you find a bit of fun as well, and hopefully getting some, real facts. And I'll continue to share my experience as long as you would like me to. And do feel free to join our channel. You can do it right now. It's only a case of pressing the button. and you know, you help the community, you help grow this and get the message out there to people that want to get started and people that want to scale. So I'll see you in the next video. My name's Kam Dovedi, helping you to take your property investing to the next level. See you later.